What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath251 here with the guys, and we got another SCP video out for you guys. This one is interesting because it's SCP-001. And this is one of the 001s. There's like 7 or 8 of them or some shit. But this one is the factory, and I've actually seen these kinds of ones before, and different ones about the factory. And the factory is like one of the most interesting SCPs. And this thing is fucked up beyond all recognition.
You know what the thing is, though? No one knows what the real SCP-001 is.
Yeah, they actually keep it classified.
I actually know what it is. Everyone, this is real. It's actually Rick Sanchez.
Oh, God.
Rick Sanchez?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about that in the last one. So let's check this shit out, and you guys get to see just how fucking horrifying the factory is. This is also done by the Haunted Reader, though a lot of other people have done the same SCP.
I'm SCP-001!
There you go. So let's check this shit out.
Good evening, Doctor. No, don't stand up. And yes, I am who you think I am.
No, you're not.
Let's not make any more.
Oh, he doesn't.
I thought you were Rick Sanchez, so no, you're not.
You know my number. And I know enough about you to make a duplicate that even your mother wouldn't be able to tell apart from the real you. No, that's not a threat. It's just a fact. Now, as to my business here. It seems you have stumbled upon something above your clearance.
Turn up.
Well, no, stumbled is not the right word. Dug up, perhaps. And you are getting to the point where further digging would end in some fairly lethal gunshot wounds. This would be a sad state of affairs, as you are otherwise quite a good researcher. Therefore, you are getting something very, very few people in the Foundation ever get. An explanation. Yes,
You're gonna explain this boil on my butt?
First started digging into
the one that sings sometimes?
Every researcher who's been around for a while looks into it. Most are satisfied
if you don't get that
when they
reference, you
uncover
need to
the
watch more
angel
TV.
with the flaming sword. It's buried under enough levels. But then you started to look into the factory. And that is when I knew you wouldn't stop. So here it is. Plain and simple. The factory is SCP-001. But it will never be written up. It was a choice I made early in the creation of the Foundation, and a choice I still stand by. You researchers are far too curious. I'm not sure which
researchers, dumbass. That kind of goes with the job.
That will never understand
You hire them
to research. They're supposed to be curious. If you just wanted to lock this shit up and not know anything about it, then don't hire researchers. Hire a bunch of guns.
The factory was built
guards
in 1835.
and security
Back then,
personnel.
it was
What the
known
fuck do we
as
even
the
have
Anderson
researchers for?
Factory,
That's
named
what they have
after
Lopez
James
for.
Anderson. Or rather,
Okay, I have an idea for a video. Let's do now
It was built
001,
in
okay,
well.
man? Okay.
No pills.
Let's
You like
just say
shoot
America,
riff.
and was the largest factory yet designed. A good mile across at its widest, 3 stories tall throughout, with a special 7-story tower at the front gate that Anderson lived in.
Well, the Anderson
It was
factory.
designated to be the ultimate factory, capable of taking care of everything, including the housing of workers. People could be born, work, live, and even die, without ever leaving the confines of the factory.
That sounds kind of
And what
fucked up.
they did
Yeah.
on everything, from cattle raising,
Sound like it is fucked up.
Especially when you think about how
Everything
fucked up
under
factory
the sun.
work was back in the 1800s.
now.
I mean, those
Who
people
knows
were basically
whether James
slaves. They
Anderson
used
was
children
actually a
labor
Satan.
I know.
to clean small machinery.
It's
and
just
shit.
as likely that he
Somebody
followed
lost
some
a hand?
pagan god.
Get back to work.
What is known is that he was never exactly in the building of his factory, and in the placement of his machinery within it. Survivors claim the floor was engraved with arcane symbols that were only visible when blood flowed across them.
That's
But
fucked up.
women survivors claimed a lot of things.
So it's a
What is
vampire
known
factory.
is that Anderson
No, it's
made
like, it
his
was like
money
one
on
massive
blood and
arcane
sweat,
ritual.
It was a
and
joke.
sometimes body
No one
parts
showed up with
of the
blood on
lower
it?
class. His journals indicated he thought of them
It was
as
vampire.
less
Good thing it
human,
wasn't sparkling like fucking
being
Twilight.
put on this earth only to
Oh, no,
serve
no, no,
his
no.
will.
The
See?
Of course, at that time, no one knew about
This
his
asshole thought nothing of the
pre-delectations.
people who worked in his factory.
And so people
Oh,
flocked
duh.
to the factory. A place to both work and live at the same time? Well, of course people wanted in.
Why?
Never mind the harsh hours or the working conditions. The sadistic security force. And all the rest. Factory workers were forced to work 16-hour days.
Damn.
Work only shutting down on Sundays between sunrise and sunset. Workers were not given individual rooms. Instead, sharing rooms with 8 other people.
Fuck.
Sleeping in shifts of
It was
3.
like every home in my neighborhood.
Medical attention was unheard of.
Damn.
Poor
If you
people
were
tend to
injured
take
in the course of your
disasters.
duties, which, trust me,
Pretty
most
easy.
people were, you were expected to
crazy.
just keep working. Anyone too injured to work was dragged off by security, never to be heard from again. For 40 years,
They
the
became
Anderson
safe.
factory cranked
Yep.
out all sorts of things for people.
If you want to see
Meat,
something similar to this, you
clothes,
need to look up the
weapons.
theories on the movie,
Never mind
not the
that
movie, the
that
game,
beef might
Little
be mixed
Nightmares.
with human.
It's something similar
Don't care
to
that
this.
the weapons
Oh,
were
God.
forged
Okay.
in blood.
It's a massive
No
ship
attention
called
need
the
be
Maw.
paid that the clothes were dyed with.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, you get the idea. Rumors leaked out. But the products were so good, why bother?
Yeah.
Until someone got out. I never met the brave soul who managed to escape, but she managed to meet with President Grant, and in
Wow.
1875 he enlisted my aid. At the time I was, well, it doesn't matter. We'll say I was military, kind of, and that my people were the same. 150 good men, and some few women, who were often given jobs that weren't supposed to be common knowledge.
Black Ops.
We've been clearing
Early
out some
US Black
Confederate
Ops.
strongholds and some of the worst
God.
things we found
Yeah,
down
after the
south.
Civil War. During
So
and after
we
the Civil
did
War,
some
they had Black Ops
research.
scenes.
Didn't like
Oh,
what we
shit,
saw
okay.
and went in, loaded for bear. I don't actually remember much about the night it all went down. Most of it blends together in my head. I get flashes, sometimes, of the people chained in line, living next to the dead and the damned, hard to tell which was which. Children working underneath machines, the majority of the flesh scowled from their bones by the great wheels and cogs,
That's fucked up, man.
and the other things. No, I'm alright. I haven't thought about that night for a very long time. The security force wasn't much of a problem, but then Anderson's creation showed up. He'd been taking the injured workers and, well, experimenting on them.
The Borg.
Men, if you could
Damn.
call men, with multiple arms sewn together. Some of them combined with animals. Horrible
Chimera.
monstrosities out of mankind's worst
Like,
nightmares.
you know, it's like if Frankenstein
Again,
fucked
come.
everything and they created
Wave
these
after
things.
wave.
Damn.
Quite living creatures. I lost a lot of good people. And then we found Anderson's breeding pits.
Breeding pits?
Girls as young as 8, chained to the walls, forced to be nothing more than... I'm sorry.
Pork.
Even today,
Well,
more
crank
than
out
a
the
century
ages.
later, the memory makes me see.
He was
Yeah.
basically like drawing
Red.
these people in, making them like part of the factory itself. People
We
born
finally
like
found
on an
Anderson,
assembly line
cowering
just to work in the
in his
factory and then be
office.
thrown away and used
We
for
hung
spare
him
parts.
from his tower
More
window
people born on the assembly
with
line
his
used
own
and then thrown away
entrails.
for other
As he
parts.
died,
just continuously on.
he
The
laughed,
cat- to the
saying
point where the
it didn't
factory was
matter.
feeding on itself and
We could
growing
kill
large
him,
and
but not
like
his factory.
developing inside of itself. Very
The
weird.
factory
Nah, that's
would
just
go
fucked up.
on.
That's not weird. That's fucked up.
He would still laugh at 24 hours later when we finally cut him down, had him drawn and quartered, and then buried the remains.
They hung him
The
from his
entire
office by his
time
own
he
fucking
uttered
entrails and laughed for
blasphemies
24
that I don't
hours.
like to think about.
This tickles.
That's pretty
We
fucked
spent a
up,
week
man.
clearing that place out, freeing
Was
the
poisoned,
workers,
shot,
putting down the things
stabbed,
we found in the
clubbed,
basements,
castrated,
many
and
lightless
finally
rooms.
drowned. What's that
We
from?
pulled out things that were useful, stocked them in a house near
I
the
don't know, it
gate.
seems like
Who was the person
Trying to
they
make
did
sense
that
of
to? They
everything.
actually did that to someone.
I know.
150
That was how they
of
finally
us
killed
went
him,
to
though.
the
They did all
hell
that
pit
shit to
that
him.
night.
Could have been the situation.
Only
Also, if
93
it was
came
women, they
out.
would just fucking rape them until
That's what they were
By the
doing.
end of
That's
that
what they were
week-
doing. They
Oh,
had,
okay.
they had said they had
Down
girls
to
as young as
71.
8 chained to the wall, and they would have the workers just basically have sex with them.
But the things
And
we
then when they
found
had a
there-
baby, the baby was taken away to be
My
raised
God,
as part of the
no.
factory.
You've been in the foundation.
That's what I said. It
Same
said
as
it's that,
always.
that was just
Seemed
another part of the factory,
as
an assembly
amazing
line
to
of
you,
workers.
but we found
Oh, I
toy
forgot about that
guns
part,
that
but
shot
yeah,
through
I get your
bullets.
point.
That's fucked up,
A
man.
yo-yo
That is fucked up.
that would flay the skin from anyone it touched. Hammers that only worked on human flesh.
Oh,
A
God.
breed of skeletal horse
Hammers
that
on
ran
human
faster than
flesh.
anything we'd
Flesh.
ever seen.
Skeletal horse.
Cloaks that seemed woven from the night itself, and let men access a shadowy dimension that... I get away from myself. We found tools, both wondrous and horrible, and we were faced with a choice. I gathered my highest ranking, well, we'll call them officers, to me, and we tried to figure out what we would do.
Should have blown it up.
They all had opinions. The chaplain had gone a little crazed. Not all these objects were been miracles sent from God,
Oh God.
holy relics to be worshipped.
What?
Marshall and his little toady
Dumbass.
Dawkins thought they were a fortune to be made here,
No
making
doubt
and
about
selling
that.
these things to the highest bidder. The engine, we all called him Bats. Due to his deep speaking voice, he called these things an abomination
Abomination.
and declared that should hunt down and destroy everything we could find.
Yeah, he was
And
a smart
Smith.
one.
Well,
Yep.
he thought we should take this stuff back to the president. The only one with an opinion was the old man, but he never said much of anything anyway. We argued for hours, days, trying to work it out.
Should have just blown it up.
I thought we were sitting on a gold mine, all right. But that we could use these things, these objects, to hunt down some of the scary things we'd run into down south. The other monsters this world had to offer. And use this factory for good, as a place to contain these things. Find a way to make them work for our fellow man. Or at least protect our fellow man from having to deal with them.
Yeah, well, that was your
I'm
big
sure you
mistake
figured
right
out
there,
what
thinking
happened.
that you could harness
Chaplain
the devil.
snuck away in the night with his devotees, taking a
Don't
couple
fuck
of
with
small
that shit,
items
man.
with him. Marshall, we kicked out when we found him, abusing his authority. He promised he'd get revenge, and that little Dawkins shit let the rest of their group off with some of the juicier items. Bass and his people tried to light the whole damn thing on fire, and just left when it didn't work. And Smith, he left. Report back to the president. I did manage to get him to promise me he'd tell Grant the factory had been destroyed. I had big plans for that place.
Yeah, and it's got big plans for
Of
you,
course,
too.
it was kind of hard to follow through our big plans when you only have 12 other people to work with. Well, it was a start. And it worked. For a while. We had these amazing toys, and finding people to work with us was easy. Back then, going off the grid was as simple as leaving town. We knew what we wanted, and we knew what we could be. Leventhal set
Something
out
like that, man,
getting
with all
us
those
back.
machinery, man, it'd be hard not to
Simple
become like Dr.
imitation
Evil.
here, some well-invested money there. All
Dr.
worked out.
Evil.
Yeah.
I
White and
got
Jones
back-
sent out,
Yeah.
getting us other
I will
backing.
unleash these horrors upon the
In our
earth unless,
previous
of
work,
course, you
we
pay
found
me
out some
$100 million.
Powerful
So in the
men
1800s, that was like more money than even fucking existed, man.
with
It's
our
1800s.
new
We don't
position.
have
That kind of money doesn't even
Oh.
exist.
Keep secrets. We got more people asking us to deal with their secrets.
That's why he came from a
$1
time machine.
million.
Blackmail is
That's
a
why he came
term
from a time
for
machine.
it.
Give me that money.
It works. Bright,
Where's Mini-Me?
argent,
Mini
and Unix got to
He's
work
riding a skeleton horse.
cataloging the items. Light and Bright's wife, the nurse, made sure we kept ourselves healthy. No,
Wait,
it's just
I know
not
who made
remembering
the
why.
factory, really.
She had such an
was
unusual
actually
idea
Rick.
about hygiene.
Oh God.
All the time.
Think about
See,
it.
I would
Oh,
like to
woman.
see some of these SCPs on Rick and Morty.
Kozov,
like just
Fleischer,
like addressed by
and
Rick.
Karnoff
You know,
dealt
I mean,
with
he would be
training
like
tricks.
nonchalant towards them, like he would
Tesla
be anything. man.
and Cameron
Damn.
were
Wait,
in
talking
charge of
about
figuring
using
out how to take
fucking
advantage
science
of
to
the
fucking
items
take
without making
night.
it obvious.
Make fucking shadow.
I know exactly how this
They're
factory
amazing.
works. You know,
The city
I
would
I
build
designed
their
half of it.
factory. We would
The other
check
half
the
was made by
coincide
another
alpha.
job.
Some
Self
nut job.
support.
There you go, man.
Agents, researchers, operatives of all sorts. Not by those names, of course, but those positions.
You just bust ass twice. Are you still busting ass?
I'm sorry.
You're like continuous,
I'm
man.
not,
You fucking
man.
Terrence and Phillip here.
I know I don't look like it, but the body lies. The mind
Yeah, but
doesn't
all you know how to
always.
do is
remember.
dragon shout, man. Can you do like the sneaky
And
sweeper
sometimes I get lost in my
or cup of spell?
Things get confused.
How about Nagasaki?
I know the
The
nightmare.
long and
Here.
simple
Oh my god.
logic is this.
Here, I'll show you. This is Nagasaki. Just a
We
second.
used the factory. It
Don't-
always seemed to have
I'm
more
pre-detonating.
Not on the damn video, dude. Stop it.
That was the word.
Okay, back in the 1800s, I don't think any shit like this happened. It was nothing but
Skips,
torture.
and no,
Nagasaki.
we thought we had the factory tamed. That's one of the reasons I refuse to quit this job. If there's anything I can do here, it's remind people that we will never tame these things.
I don't know, but
Contain
I
them,
bet Rick
yes.
could do something.
But as we saw with Abel, taming them, never.
The hell was that?
After a decade or so, we were pretty much organized. The 13 original of us were
Factory?
It's something from the.
being
It was on
called
the
by
other side of the wall,
numbers,
man.
not names.
Oh boy, someone from the
We knew
factory.
how to make
Yeah.
them work. And if a thing
Was
or
it
two
Rick?
vanished inside the factory still, and the occasional D-class, what? Yes, we had D-class back then. Disposables. That's where the D comes from.
The
Had to have someone to test things on. Tesla and Tamlin were both very firm about that. But yes, sometimes we
There's
lost
a little
people
something
who
for you.
didn't matter.
You see that? Nikola
Yeah.
Tesla was part of it.
Yeah, I know. Well, he was
Sorry.
part of the research team.
Dr.
I mean,
Brown
if you're gonna
was
get anybody to
fond of
research
saying
something like that, it would
was
have
the
to be him.
factory
Like it was like
taking toll.
probably the biggest fucking genius
Can't
in
get
history.
something for nothing.
No, it became the electrical nemesis, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was an electrician genius. Man.
1911 was when it all went wrong. Things.
1911.
We called them fairies.
9/11.
An entire race of things living beside us. They could look the same as you and or I. The only obvious difference was an allergy to iron. Yes,
Fairies?
that's
Really?
why we call them fairies.
Oh my god.
No, you haven't heard them. Why? Because it's the one time the Foundation wiped out an entire race of things. Root and branch. I'm the one who did it.
Really? One foundation?
We've
They
been
wiped out
hunting
an
them for
entire
some
race?
time.
That's
We didn't run
kind of
into
like
them
way under the
a
curve
time
for
or
a
two
lot of
before
organizations. if you
come
think
out on
about it.
top.
Like the East India Trading
So when a
Company and
certain
stuff like
royal
that,
asked us for
one,
help,
one race
of course we
is
were
like,
eager
that's
to
like
get them
nothing
in our
compared
debt.
to what a lot of organizations
We
are.
always loved
The
having
United
people
States
in our debt.
government, China.
That's just
We
one
sent a
thing they
team to help out.
We
take
said
care
for
of
one
what
time
we
they ever
thought
wiped out an
hunting
entire
party.
race.
This time, they ain't ever done it. They never had to do that before.
Next time
Yeah.
we saw them, their heads were on poles, attached to saddles of the creatures the fairies rode. When they
Hey, man, it's
attacked
almost
the
like angels
factory,
versus demons.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
horrible.
convoluted. Like he basically says that
3 words.
as around 1911, the
they
organization
convey
was kind
so
of wiped
much.
out by these fairies or whatever
I
the
have
fuck they are.
never-
They came and they basically killed everyone. Then the factory gave him
Sorry.
something to.
Fight against
Please
them.
tell me.
Yeah, well, basically kind of like rewind time, and he also had the weapons, and then he
I
managed
have
to wipe
never
out the
told
fairies.
this part to
But
anyone.
like the factory's kind of like a
You
give and
should
take
consider
kind of
yourself
thing. It won't
lucky.
do much for you unless you give it something.
And if you
So they basically feed it people.
tell anyone what I
So
know,
basically, this was the gargoyles.
No, worse, dude. I mean,
I will not
this
just
factory
kill
is like a living thing.
but
Okay,
everyone
It
then.
runs
shares your
itself.
DNA.
It produces stuff on its
And
own.
the worst
Hell, if you look at some of the
is
other
possible.
SCPs, they actually have
You
found
will think
shipments
that procedure
of
110
stuff
talk
from
is a
from
walk
like
in the
it
park
says from the
compared
factory,
to what
the
I would
Anderson
do
factory.
to you.
Somehow this even though they've got it completely contained, the factory is sending shit out to
lost.
other people.
The things
Wow.
came,
It sends shit
they
to
destroyed
people.
us.
Somehow it's producing things
Rode
and
over
sending them
our
out there.
emplacements, slaughtered our people, shrugging off our weapons like they were nothing.
Damn.
I watched my 13 go down, left and right, just trying to hold the factory. And I, their leader,
Push that later, bitch.
their father figure, godfather to the bride's 4 young children, confidant, sometimes lover, always the confessor.
Wait, what? Lover.
I ran.
To confess.
Remember,
I
kids, the smart
ran
man knows when
like
it's
a
time to
scared
run like a little
little
bitch.
student, deep into the dark guts of the factory.
He went into its
I
bowels.
was chased by things, always just one step ahead. I could hear them behind me, feel their breath upon my neck, and
That sounds kind of gay, dude.
Yeah.
I came to a door I'd never seen before. A bronze door, covered in Arabic script of some sort. I've never been one for languages, especially not the curvy bullshit the Muslim men use.
Oh wow, that was kind of
I
racist.
didn't care.
Yeah.
They were coming for me. I knew the door opened and dived through it. Everything inside was different. There was a feeling of peace that nothing could hurt me here. The light was
that
this
shows a
dark
girl
red, but
background, you got nothing
still
but a
felt
hickey.
right.
Something pouring on his neck.
My ears were filled
Oh, boy,
with the
Just like coming
steady
behind, it's like, I'm going to rape
drumming
you.
of a gigantic heartbeat. And
Reminds me of a Kong on Skull Island.
were the
I'm going to
remains
stab you
of Anderson.
before the end of the night. It's like, what the
It spoke to me then. But I'll be damned if I could tell you exactly what it said. What it told me was more meaning than exact. It offered me hope. It told me that each of the things we had used from the factory, no matter what we did with it, fed it, helped it grow. But if the fairies took the factory, they would destroy it. And we couldn't have that. It offered me a deal.
A deal. Oh, of course it
It
did.
could remove this event. Make it have never happened. All I needed to give it was us. I didn't want to. I knew it was a bad idea. But then I saw them again. My family, my friends, dead. Dead by the hands of those bastards.
So in
I
the end,
agreed.
he sold his soul. For
It
revenge.
smiled. And I found myself once more upon the ramparts, watching the hordes of fairies crest the hill. My foundation alive once more. In my hands was a weapon.
Every time I do that,
I
I
won't
fart
bore
on him.
you with the details, but we slaughtered them. And with these new weapons, continued to slaughter them. Everywhere
I'm sorry, folks,
they
but that is
went,
weapon of how to kill people.
everywhere they bred, my fellow O5s questioned my decision, thinking we should have some, save some, in case we might ever need them. I overruled them. We moved away from the factory. Shut it down. Moved our things out of there. We changed the name from things to special containment protocols.
Oh, that was
Focusing
supposed to
on
take
containment.
procedures.
Not anything else. The others were curious, but understood I had my reasons. I boarded up the factory, locked it shut, buried it under a ton of rubble, saying it was too dangerous.
And yet
I
it
thought-
still worked.
Thought I'd gotten away with it.
We would have
Well, I
gotten away with it.
think
It wasn't for
on
those
my desk.
meddling kids.
One of the old
fairies
toy
too.
guns shot real bullets. And it had the factory label on it. I've sent people in from time to time to see what it might be doing. Last time I sent people in to look, there was nothing there. Kept finding factory items out there. I can't help but think of how many more we don't find.
See, the factory's
The
still
people who
shipping
use
things
them
out,
keep it
and
hidden.
they don't know how.
I think back to the body telling me how each item used gave energy to the factory. I never asked it. Energy for what? I don't think I want to know. What do we give it? D class, mostly. Where do you think all those bodies went? There's a place. Bodies are left, and they vanish. Everyone thinks I'm a genius for figuring it out. Sometimes
So when the D-class die, or
Sometimes
sometimes
feed
when they're
it other
alive, they just
things.
send them to the factory, and the factory like
Researchers,
eats them or does some shit with the
agents.
dead bodies. Probably
I
right.
never know it's coming. It just reaches
Well, yeah,
out.
D-class means death.
and
No,
takes
it means
it's
disposable.
Well, it could lead to
D-class
that.
is disposable class.
But in the end, we're
Well,
doing
just
more
fucking
good.
D. Yes, you could
by
say
being
death, but
here.
what the hell? But yeah, disposable.
Whatever the factory
But D-
wants,
yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it is, we're doing good here.
Yeah, you're doing good.
I have to believe that.
Until the factory decides to turn around and bite you in the ass.
And now you know. Are you happy? I didn't think so. Why tell you? Well, I'm getting old, Elbert.
I'm getting old.
Should I die, someone will have to keep feeding it. Maybe you'll be different. Maybe you'll figure out how to stand up to it. But I doubt it.
Heh. So like, even the head of the foundation is just basically a slave to the factory. All they do is feed the goddamn thing, and it just keeps
So
growing.
pretty much, I can see why they cleared that one 001. It kind of created the foundation itself.
Yeah, that's well. A lot of them say that they created the foundation. So did another one called the Broken God.
Mm-hmm.
That one's actually interesting because it actually says that the Broken God is a huge machine that just basically starts eating everything. But it carved out the Gulf of
I
California.
remember you said that, yeah.
Yeah, that's how fucking huge it was.
Damn.
And there's like, and the founder was also the first one to find the Gate Guardian. And whereas everybody else who approaches it, it tells them to leave and forget. With him, it told him to prepare. And that's when he started the foundation. You know, and so like there's all
So-
kinds of ones, dude. Another one is a sheaf of papers.
The Broken Gods 001, the Gate Guardian.
Oh yeah. Broken God. They show that huge machine. But anyway, so that was one of the SCP-001s. I mean, that one was... The story's like more about this guy's own personal demons and bullshit that he had to... But, I mean, the factory itself, if you think about it, is really fucking terrifying. Like, the way it was run by this guy, and this guy was obviously fucking nut job. And some kind of, like, you know, mystic shit, because he was obviously working with some kind of shit, obviously... You know, some sort of demonic magic and shit, because there are runes and shit that only appeared when they were soaked with blood.
Mm-hmm.
So he was obviously doing some kind of weird crap, you know, and that just seemed to bring the factory to life. I mean, who knows what the hell he would have done with it if they just left it keep going, if they hadn't raided the damn place and killed this asshole.
Yeah.
So it's just something interesting to think of, but nobody really knows what the real SCP-001 is, and that's supposed to be the whole point. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like, comment, subscribe if you did. Let us know if you want us to see any other SCPs or read more about them or any other videos you want us to react to or any of that other good shit. Like, comment, subscribe. You know, follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Check out our Patreon. You know, our goal is to reach enough money to get a Nintendo Switch with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So we can bring you guys some of the craziest Mario Kart shit imaginable. Okay, so... we'll be doing some more stuff with that. We're going to keep up with Mario Kart Mario Kart Sundays. Sorry, Mario Kart Sundays are going to continue. So I hope you guys enjoy these, and we'll see you guys next time. Everybody say bye.
Till next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.